Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to really quickly cover the assignment 2. So this is a pretty straightforward assignment. I'm not going to go too far into it. I'm not going to go too far into it, just really quick brushing over it. So for part 1, it's going to instruct you to go to practice number 7 and take a screenshot of number 6. Then part 2, you're going to draw that graph you took a screenshot of and answer some questions. So the first question is going to be after drawing, you're going to be asked to find, the first 2 questions actually is going to ask you to find the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So for that equilibrium price and quantity, we're going to look at the market equilibrium price and quantity, or the original equilibrium point before the shift. So we're just gonna look right here, just at the supply curve before the shift, which means we're basically gonna ignore the shifted supply curve for now. And we're just gonna go down to that equilibrium point and find our equilibrium price and our equilibrium quantity. So then after that, you're going to look for, you're going to be asked for a reason for a shift, for the shift that you see. And I'm going to get to that in a second, but first I'm going to go on and look at the new equilibrium after the shift. So for this new equilibrium point after the shift, now we're going to be looking here at the shifted supply. So what's going to happen is we had our original supply curve, then some change happened in the market that you're going to be asked to give an example of. And then now afterwards, we don't have the old supply curve anymore. Some changes happen in the market. The supply has been shifted, and now we have this new supply curve, this new shifted supply curve. And so when we're going to be looking for this new equilibrium point, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go down here, look for the intersection, and right here we have our new equilibrium. So what this is going to look like all together is right here we have our original equilibrium. I'm going to just put this as E star. And then after the shift, we're going to look at this intersection point with the original demand and the new supply curve. And this is going to be our, I'm going to put this as E new star. So that's going to be our new equilibrium. So then we're going to, I'm just going to quickly go on to part 3. We're going to go to practice number 8. Practice 8, question number 1, and you're going to take a screenshot of that. And this is a little sketch I've done really quickly for a demand curve. You're going to do the same thing for the initial, for the market equilibrium. You're going to look at the supply. You're going to look at the supply curve with the original demand. You're going to find the equilibrium for that. And then we are going to be looking for a reason for the shift. I'll get to that in a second. And then you're going to be asked for what the new equilibrium point is after that shift has occurred. So what's going to happen is we had our original equilibrium point, some change happened in the market, and so now we're looking at this as our new equilibrium. And so you're just going to find the values right there. And so now just to quickly cover, oops. So now I'm just going to quickly cover some possible reasons for a shift. For one thing, all of the reasons, all the potential reasons for a shift in the demand and the supply curves are going to be in this lecture, this video lecture. It's going to be, it's already been provided for you on Canvas under the unit for shifts. You can go straight to YouTube, learn the econ, and find this video right here, this video titled EC 2201 Sup and Demand Lecture 3. And if you go right around to the middle of the video, it's going to start going, you'll see the reasons for a shift in the demand curve. And it's going to cover more in depth each of the reasons. And somewhere around here at the beginning or the end, there's going to be actually a little chart that summarizes all the reasons for a shift in the demand in the market. And then if you go down back to, I think around minute like 50, you'll see the same thing for supply curve. It's going to talk about shift in the supply curve. It'll go over, some of the reasons and stuff, and you'll have a little chart that summarizes all the reasons in the end for a shift in the supply curve. So looking at our shifts that we have here, one thing I'm gonna point out here is, let's say, let's look at what the shift means in the market. So we have this original supply here, and let's just pick any quantity, maybe not necessarily the equilibrium quantity. Let's say we're looking, or not necessarily the equilibrium price. Let's look at this price here and say that this price is about $10. And if we just draw a line across here, we can see our supply, the quantity supplied in our original supply curve at $10 is a quantity that we'll say is 5. And if we look over here, after the shift has happened, we go down and we see that this quantity over here is now 10. So what's happened here, this shift that we see, is that at every single price, we can see at every single price along the supply curve, after this shift has occurred, we're getting a larger quantity supplied for any given price. So when you go in and you look at your reasons, let's say that one reason was the number of producers. So one reason to have a shift in the supply curve is you can have a change in the number of producers. And if you see, say, 2 people are producing in an economy, in a market, and they're supplying here 5 goods, a quantity of 5 goods, what could a change in that number of producers look like? Well, if we have an increase in producers, so say the number of producers doubles from 2 to 4 producers, we could see the quantity being supplied in the market doubles from 5 to 10. So here, this change, we could guess that it's an increase in the number of producers. Alternatively, we could have an example where instead of the supply shifting this way, it could shift the other way. It could shift like this, in which case, at any given price, we shift it back down a little bit to 10. We can look at the 10 again. So, this, again, we're looking at like 10, and, we saw that initially we had 5 being supplied. This right now at a price of 10, now we only have 1 being supplied. So what this could mean is that, if the shift looks like this, is at any price, the quantity being supplied has decreased. This could mean there is now a decrease of producers in the market. So those are 2 examples for one of the reasons of a shift. Again, you can look at the YouTube video and it will cover other reasons if you'd like to explore those. So now I'm just going to really quickly look here at the demand. So we have this shift here. Let's look a little bit higher up. Let's look, like right about there. And let's say that this is going to be a price of 20. So what we see here is at a price of 20 on our original demand curve, we go up, we'll come down here, and this looks like it's, say, a quantity of 20 being supplied. And then if we look at the shifted demand, that's going to be a little less. That's going to be 15. And we're seeing on this curve, this drawing here, that at any given price, after the shift has occurred, we're seeing a decrease in the quantity being demanded. So in other words, the consumers are asking for less of whatever good this is at any given price. So let's say, for instance, one of the reasons that we could see a change in demand, it could be the number of consumers. So we could say, initially there was, say this is the market for gasoline in a small town. And initially there are 200 people that drive cars. And so, they're going and buying gasoline every week and stuff. But then, stuff happens, maybe there are more jobs in like another city or something. And so 200, there were initially 200 people, and now like 50 of them move to another city. So now there are fewer people living in that small town driving cars. And so they're going to be buying less gasoline than before. So, before maybe the little gas station was selling like 20 gallons of gas a week, and now they're only selling like 15, because now there is a decrease in consumers. And so there is a decrease in demand. Alternatively, we could look at the shift in demand in going the other way, like up here. And in this instance, we still have the initial quantity demanded as 20, but now if we look over here, there's this increase. The quantity demanded has increased to say 25. And so what we're seeing is that at every price in this instance now, at every price, there is an increase in demand. And again, if we're looking at the number of consumers, we could say that, again, in this little small town, initially there's 200 people driving cars and the gas station is selling like 20 gallons of gas a day. Maybe people have decided to move to this town now, and now instead of 200 people driving cars, there's now 250 people driving cars. And so now there are more people driving cars, which means more people need to buy gasoline. And so now the gas station is selling 25 gallons of gas a day. And so what we see here is that in this instance, an increase in the number of consumers has increased the quantity demanded. So just do a quick share to the Word document. So that pretty much covers the assignment, I believe. If you want to look into any other examples of reasons for the shift in the supply curve or the shift in the demand curve, please definitely go check out that video. It goes a little bit more it covers all of them. I think there's about 4 or 5 reasons for a shift in the supply curve and another 4 or 5 reasons for a shift in the demand curve. It covers them. It goes a little bit more in depth, talking about each one. For your assignment, you're just gonna get your screenshot, your first screenshot, answer the questions about that screenshot. You're gonna get a second screenshot, answer questions about those screenshots. And then down here, you're gonna put in your first screenshot, your first drawing, here's an example of my drawing, your second screenshot, and then your second drawing. And I think that covers everything. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Please remember that next week is going to be finals week. So the final is going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to be open Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. Check the announcements. There's an announcement there. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the final anytime this week or next week. Feel free to reach out through email or Canvas or anything. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up. So have a good day.